Hello everyone. For this practice, we are going to work with Lakshmi. Lakshmi is the frequency for wealth, generational wealth, prosperity through craftsmanship, creativity. So if we have a creative idea, if we have craftsmanship, if we have a creative mind that we like to further develop, or we would like to transform our creativity into prosperity, we can work with Lakshmi. Lakshmi will help us to build up the caliber, the character, and the courage it takes to be able to hold the frequency of wealth within our lives. Lakshmi represents the wealth of this planet, and particularly wealth that has been generated through creativity. Okay, so this is about the knowledge of creativity throughout ancient time on this earth, and how the creative expression, the creative spark, the creative originality can give rise to a facility and faculty of wealth, sort of commerce and exchange, a synergy that is a first experience within our own lives and our own mastery over giving and receiving, and what it means to give and what it means to receive. So Lakshmi works a lot with the divine feminine when it comes to becoming very creative, and also works with the divine masculine when it comes to the execution, when it comes to the practice and the participation, so that we can get very skillful and gifted. So Lakshmi has a frequency of the gifted one, the talented one, the creative one. So naturally, when we start to develop our creativity and we start to gain a momentum around our creativity through, could be practice or participation that we've done consistency, we start to develop this continuity, right? The sharing of one's light, the sharing of this creativity, and that's seen as the generational wealth, where you have built up a particular skill or talent, you've gotten very gifted, and you sort of hand the torch, we'll say, to future generations as a sort of guide, as a kind of lighthouse or an inspiration for their own creative destiny. Because every generation, there's always a new assignment, right? So my generation, we have a particular assignment that may be different from like the millennial or the MTV generation, but they're all kind of interacting with each other and all intermingling. They're all sort of in support of each other. So Lakshmi teaches us how to connect with our creative destiny, even our North Node, for our personal evolution, so that we can start to connect with the bigger picture and connect with our role to play for humanity. So Lakshmi can help us to develop our 10th house, which is our role to play for humanity, can be seen as our purpose, right? 10th house in astrology can be seen as our purpose, our sort of where we're going to reach completion. I like to see 10th house as the completion of our lives, coming full circle, the development that will help us to really share and shine in ways that we can be received, in ways that we can give. Lakshmi works with the 5th house. 5th house can do with, again, our creativity, our inner child, feeling radiant, feeling good about ourselves. Has to do with being enthusiastic, charismatic, and experiencing the excitement of being alive and sharing ourselves and being authentic. Then Lakshmi also can work with, again, the North Node. The North Node has to do with our destiny, where we're going in this lifetime, okay? And what kind of bigger picture in our life are we wanting to tap into? So, Lakshmi plays a role in many, many areas of our lives, and it's a frequency. We can see it as a person or a deity. We can have an image associated with Lakshmi, but it's really a frequency that we're tapping into all the time when we start to develop our creativity. And Lakshmi will help us to understand, especially if we're working with the business side as well as the creative side. She can help us to gain knowledge on what it means to hold a business, what it means to have a team, what it means to be a leader, right? And to have clear communication, what it means to stand your ground, right? To hold your position, right? So Lakshmi can be a great, we call bargainer. Is that a word? Bargainer. Right? Where she can really hold her ground, and she can really remain true to her worth, right? She's worked very hard on this project or this product or this sort of craftsmanship, right? Let's say it's a sculpture. She can remain true to her worth, right? So really, we're developing worth, right? We feel really good as human beings when we're creating beauty, when we're around beauty, and when we're creating beauty. That's just natural for us as humans to feel really, really good when we're surrounded by beauty, right? Beautiful food, beautiful color, beautiful paintings, beautiful taste, smells, these type of things. We feel really, really good because that helps us to tap into the delight to be alive, that sensual, sexual, in this sort of breath of life. Like when you smell a flower, it gives you this sort of orgasmic feeling of joy, right? So creativity in general is basically an extension of your joy, and joy is one of the most purest, authentic, most radiant frequency of this planet. Joy. Okay, joy is something that as an adult we it's like we have to kind of, it feels like a struggle for joy, because we when we become adult, we associate with vacation. It's always some kind of joy always has to be because of something, that, oh, I got joy, I got the raise in my job, these type of things. But Lakshmi experiences joy in this sort of breath of life, like every day. It's not of just I got the raise, I got the house, or I've got graduated from school. There's a sort of joy that Lakshmi experiences throughout the entire process of her life, and that joy comes from a place of being creative with her movement. So even while she's studying for her, let's say, an essay or something like that, there's joy in going through the process of that. So it's not just the joy because, oh, I finished, and then you're just hustling and hassling through the whole thing, and then, oh, the joy. It doesn't really work like that. It's joy is an awareness you bring. It's a sort of delight you bring, a kind of appreciation or gratitude you bring for, wow, this essay is very challenging. It's like 15 pages, but I'm grateful because I have an opportunity to really develop my writing skills or develop my researching skills, right? And in the bigger picture, that can be beneficial to further future projects or future businesses or future sort of acquaintances I may have, right? Or employers or employees that I may have to connect with in that way. So Lakshmi is a very beautiful frequency to work with, especially if you're wanting to build prosperity, creativity, because it is very much connecting you to your joy. And joy, again, it's a place from your inner child. It's a place of freedom. It's a place of self-expression, and it's very shameless. It's very shameless. It's very non-judgmental, and it really is about you getting in touch with the riches of in you, right? So a lot of times we've been programmed and have these belief systems about the riches, outside, and we're always like chasing the riches, and we're feeling quite desperate about the riches, or anxious, or feeling that we're not adequate or undervalue ourselves, not worthy, right? Lakshmi is a way to build up this inner richness that comes from our own beauty, making our life very beautiful, right? Our environment, our surroundings. And beauty can be very simple. It can be a garden, but it's you getting in touch with your inner beauty, your natural beauty, okay? And what happens is when you do that is you start to channel just naturally just this creative movement, right? Everyone's drawn to beauty. That's just kind of how it is. But we're drawn to this natural beauty, right? That we're drawn to the joy, right? Somebody can have the glamour, this, that, and the other, but the joy is what's really inspirational, right? There can be glamour and luxury, but a lot of times without the joy, it's very much we're drawn to it out of competition, out of complaints, out of I don't have enough, out of I want it, I don't have it. We're coming from these places. We're not coming from, whoa, that's so beautiful, I'm inspired to take up this course, or to go to school, or to have this new relationship, or to relocate. That's a kind of different response than, oh, they have this and the other, I want that, I'm envious, I'm going to compete, I'm going to compare, I'm going to contrast, I'm going to try to become a mimic. That's a very different kind of sort of connection to what we think of beauty. Our more natural connection to beauty is about the inspiration, right? The inspiration, the joy that sort of awakens us to our joy, or awakens us to our creativity. Like when you go to the botanical gardens, right? You come out usually more creative, more inspired, right? We could go into, the most luxurious mansion or something and not really feel inspired or creative in the way of joy, in the way of authenticity. We could come out of it like, I'm going to hustle and compete, and I'm going to win, and this kind of, it could be egotistical, it could be greed, it could be envious. That's a very different, that's not a Lakshmi kind of space, right? So we're working with our inner inspiration, and we're working through being inspired by our joy, getting in touch with that joy that we have when we're 5 years old, when we're 9 years old, when our sort of idea of wealth comes directly from our willingness to believe in our talents and gifts, and to take care of them, and to be expressive with them, and to be courageous, and to build character with them. Okay, so we're listening to a mantra for Lakshmi, play continuously.